I used to get angry. It would secretly bother me. Nobody knew this, but it would bother me if anybody had an opinion on this sport that questioned my opinion. Now, when I tell you this would bother me, I had to deal with being bothered well less than one time a year because nobody questioned my opinion on the sport. It was extremely well known. The leading expert of this sport is Chael. I am the second longest licensed promoter in America. I have put on more events in America than anybody not named Dana White. Nobody has had to make the money work longer than me. And I only share with you, there's nobody on all sides of the sport. There's nobody that's done the sport, coached the sport, promoted the sport, announced the sport. There's nobody. There's just me. Now, of course, I'm not comparing myself with the folks at the UFC. I'm sharing with when you have somebody outside of the UFC and you're trying to get experts' opinions, nobody. Like, they would have debates, and then they would either call me for the right answer, or I would walk in the room, make my statement, and everybody would go quiet. And it was a very rare thing when somebody would share their opinion against mine. And when I tell you that it would anger me because I know the money that it takes to get into the sport. I know what it takes to stay afloat. I had to sit back and listen. I was just saying, like, when you know something and everybody's wrong and you want to tell them so bad, like that happens when you're a little kid. That happens from the time you're a little kid, but it doesn't go away when you're an adult. And from day one in this sport, where this is the live gate and pay-per-view business. And I mean, people believe this for over 20 years before and then the really smart guy in the room knows it's the live gate and the pay-per-view and the sponsorship business. And then that's it. The smartest guy you will ever find will still be stuck at it's the live gate, pay-per-view, and sponsorship business. Like they don't know what they're talking about, but it's closed. You don't tell anybody. There's no college you can go to major in this. There's no library you can check out a book. So if you're a guy in my position that went through raising the money, going through the work, doing this, and putting on 200 events, you're not going to hand those answers to anybody. But you'll get close. If somebody gives you a scenario, you will tell them what the right answer is. You will tell them how to handle it. So I just got to tell you, I sit back and I got to hear these things about this White House event. And it's one of these things where, I don't want to come out and tell you what an idiot you are because now I'm at a spot where some of our biggest names in our sport have come out and spoke about their opinion of the White House event. They're so stupid, they sound so stupid, and when they get the final answer of what this very special event will be, which is nothing remotely close to what they're claiming, they're going to go, well, that's what I heard. I'll sit back and go, okay, genius, let me just ask you some very random questions, okay? Let's use the movie business. Can we agree that that's entertainment? Can we agree that that's sort of what we're doing? Just sort of? Okay. Think of the biggest movies of all time. Did they have the 12 biggest, most expensive movie stars, you stupid mother? Okay, let's think of the biggest concert of all time. Can we agree that that's somewhere in the realm of what we're doing here? Okay, Michael Jackson concert, the biggest one you've ever seen. Did they have the 12 most expensive, biggest musical stars? Okay. Let's think of anything in the history of entertainment, you stupid mother. Did anything you've ever seen have the 12 most expensive stars? Anything. Okay, but let's think about why not. Let's think about why not. How many fans do you think there are out there? And that includes the little old lady from Iowa. Now, little old lady from Iowa is actually an example that they will use in the book to describe somebody that just turns across the channel but stops. Doesn't know what happened going on and isn't familiar with it, but sees that something is happening here and stops. Stops and watches. So not the hardcore base, which, by the way, represents 15% of fans. Not the yous and me's of the world. The rest of them plus the little old lady in Iowa. Okay, let's just think, though. How many of them can we get? All right, what do we need to do to get them? What a main event do? I mean, that's all the sport of boxing has ever had. There has never been a Floyd Mayweather. There has never been a Mike Tyson. There has never been a Muhammad Ali. There has never been a Tyson Fury. There has never been a Klitschko. There has never been an event in boxing that was more than just the main event. But let's say that there was. Let's say that there was a co-main and then one after that. How many fans do you think exist, including the little old lady in Iowa? And if we did do a co-main and the one underneath that, how many do you think that we could get? How many more? And why do you think that? So you start working this following the laws of logic. And pretty soon you realize there's a way that you're capped out. So why would you ever speak the words that you believe there's going to be the 12 biggest and most expensive stars? What on earth, what example on earth do you have to compare that to? You can't do it to the movies. You can't do it to the concerts. You can't do it to our own sport, of which is held UFC 100, 200, and 300. To our own sport that played Sphere, the biggest gate that we've ever had, which, by the way, you, my audience, the hardcore fan, you could not name the co-main event of right now. Now, you could get it. You'd have to think, and you'd know where to get that info, but you couldn't do it right now. So why on earth would you think, if you were playing a certain lawn, that you'd have 7 title fights? I'm just asking you, why would you ever speak those words? You've never been told that. If there was 7 title fights, which means you're going to cannibalize your own business, unless you have a justification, you have some kind of a formula where you believe you can do 7 times the business in one night to make up for the 7 events that you're spreading these title fights over, unless you have some way to do that. What principles would you be following to conclude that that's going to happen? What piece of history would you be following? The days where we go back to we don't have the answers, they haven't been given to us yet. So we're going to do the safest and best thing we can do, which is we're going to ask Chael. Those days have got to return, and we're going to start right now. Nothing you've been told about that event is accurate. And the people that have told you need to quit pretending that they know what they're doing. Not being a dick about it. But those people have never parted with their money to put on an event. They don't know the business. They've never made $1 in this event. They've been given $1 for participation in the event, but they've never made one. I, for now, am going to leave it at that.